Good evening, Galactic citizens. It's another episode of the Collective Gamescast. This week we're doing Star Wars The Force Awakens review. I'm the Malgadar. He's Chris.
Yep, that's me. Yep.
That's how you say hello. Good job. With us is Andrew.
What's up?
Another delayed hello. Man, you guys are so shy.
We're so used to the intros, man.
Yeah, I know. I figured we'd do a little something different tonight. It's kind of a special night. Anyway, we're here. Google Hangout. You know how to find us every week right here on Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. Search the Collective Gamescast. We're always out there. Follow us on Twitter at the Collective GC. We always put it out there right before the show starts. All right, guys. So, should I ask what you've been up to this week, or should we get right to the business?
We can say, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll start it off.
Okay. Go right on ahead, sir.
Yeah. All right, so for the week, I have stopped playing Fallout since Saturday, I want to say. And I've been playing Elite Dangerous and Mech Warrior Online. And then today, I discovered Steam put one of my favorite childhood games, my first PC game, back up there. This is from '97, a game called Total Annihilation, which is like it's like Skyrim meets RTS. So it's like a futuristic RTS, but the community and the mods that they had back then were just amazing. It was such a fun game. I spent so many hours playing that game. And it wasn't like, you know how StarCraft and a lot of the RTS will have like a specific way to start. So like if you're going to cheese, you do this route. If you're going to go for tech right away, you do this route. Whereas this game, you can do whatever the hell you want to do and still enjoy it, and it's great. So I bought that game.
Okay.
For some nostalgia moments.
That's life on Steam, man. You're always buying something.
And they keep releasing, because a lot of the games they had, a lot of the older games used to use that GameSpy arcade, and then that got discontinued, I think, last year?
Yeah, or maybe 18 months ago.
Yeah, something like that. And so they're re-releasing a lot of the stuff that was on there, which is nice, so we don't have to worry about separate programs to run them. I will also say this game is 40 megabytes big.
Jesus.
And I spend hours upon hours upon hours just playing around with
it. Question, Mr. Steam Master Race person. Were they doing Star Wars game sales this week?
I didn't check this week. I didn't see anything Star Wars related. Because I want to say maybe 2 months ago. No, this was in the summer. They had all the Star Wars games for like $4 or $5. And so I have them all, so I wasn't even checking for them.
Okay. I was just curious if they were, theming it up. Although we're right about on top of the Steam Winter Sale too, aren't we?
The 22nd.
Yeah.
I think Battlefront, the new one, was actually was on sale for I think $30. Nope, that's on Origin. That's on Origin. I lied.
Okay, well, if you're on PC, I mean.
Yeah.
I thought EA had some like restriction on selling those on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Origin, not Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pretty clunky software.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else going on, Chris, or should we move on to Andrew here?
Yeah, let's move on to Andrew. That was it.
All right, Andrew, you were a guest on the show last week. You're back again. What have you been up to this week?
A lot of work. Bought a ticket to Hawaii in January, so trying to save up for that. Games-wise, though, I've been playing Hearthstone and Final Fantasy 13.
Well, hold on. Let's not gloss over this Final Fantasy 13 thing here, because this is a sore spot amongst a lot of Final Fantasy fans. So, what pulled you back into playing that one?
Well, I never actually played it.
Okay.
I saw it on Steam. They made the PC port, and so I was just thinking about the ones that I hadn't actually tried, and went and bought Final Fantasy 13. It was like $12 or something, whatever it was, and Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's not, there are a lot of things about it that I don't like as much as the other games, but it's
It,
kept me interested enough to at least play through it, so.
it's a flawed game, but I don't know. I didn't hate on it as much as other people. Yeah, it is very kind of linear through the early parts, and I think what they were struggling with was like how do you deliver the story if you open it up more, and
Right, yeah.
they were never able to resolve that. But it never really bothered me because the combat is balls ass tight.
Yeah.
You know? Like I love the combat in that game. A lot of people say it's like, oh, mash X, and I'm like, it's just interesting in the fact that it's like managing your units rather than micromanaging your units. You know?
That's what I like. I like that you actually have to manage your units for the game.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. And you know, once you, I mean, that's what makes it interesting, is the combat system. And like the different, like once you start to really understand like some of the different tricks in the combat system too, like that actually adds more of a like focused element to it as well. So I don't know, I enjoy it.
I also like the fact that in that one they healed you after every battle.
Yeah.
And since they got rid of the magic points, you could just go, you know, you just went for it in every battle, and every battle could be really difficult because they were like, look, we're going to heal you after battle, so we're not pulling any punches with the combat encounters.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I've definitely failed, and you know, and that's one of the things was like, you run into an enemy that you fail at, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to try it again, and you know, I think that that's kind of an interesting aspect of it too, is that, you know, you retry it a few times, and then you finally figure out, well, this is kind of the pattern I have to use to beat this guy, and this is what I have to be careful about. And I don't necessarily think that dumbs down the experience at all. It's actually kind of interesting to challenge yourself.
yeah, well, I mean,
Figure out how
since the punishment for failure isn't so bad, they can push the envelope even further with how difficult they make combat encounters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a couple boss fights that'll make you rip your hair out in that game, man. Trust me. It's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I really like the game just because I like the combat that much, and the story actually isn't too bad. The voice acting, the characters have some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Lightning's not exactly a great protagonist by any means.
No,
You know.
I think I'd rather play a game of Saz.
Oh, Saz is the fucking man. Yeah. Yeah, I really like Fang and Vanille. Like they were the characters who I found really interesting. Hope is annoying, and I don't know. Snow is like a walking cliche, so
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. What's really weird about that game is when you get about like 30, 40 hours in, right about the time you're ready to beat the game, all of a sudden all this side stuff opens up, and there's all this like exploration stuff to do down in like a different area, and that stuff sucked me in for so many hours.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that you get, you know, eventually, like, before you're a few hours out from finishing the game, that you actually have the free kind of map exploration, treasure hunts type stuff to do.
Yeah, monster hunting is really the big deal. You do like these mark hunts, you know, and it's basically like go hunt down this monster, and there's like 50 plus of them, and some of them are like chain quests, and it's pretty cool. There's like all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. I was actually a couple months ago, I was watching the stream of the like Final Fantasy speedrun relay. Like, I saw it online, and I was watching for like 10 minutes, but I guess like 2 different groups were doing like speedruns throughout all 13, or like all, well, it's not 13, like 12 of the non-MMO Final Fantasies, and like they did it in like 60 hours or something. It was pretty crazy.
Jesus, that's amazing.
So.
Yeah, anyway, I guess just I don't want to turn it into the Final Fantasy 13 episode, but that's I don't know. It's not as bad as people say it is, but it's not the best Final Fantasy, but it's worth playing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then there's also 2 sequels to it, so if it's your cup of tea,
Mhm.
13-2 is probably my favorite of the 3, but the story falls apart more because the world becomes like open.
Mhm.
It's like a weird like timeline kind of game. It's like you can jump back and forth between different timelines, and because of that, it's harder for them to put a cohesive story together in that
Yeah,
one. But it gives you more of that freedom. Like, where do you want to go? How do you want to attack it?
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Not at the moment. Just like I said, I
Okay.
get to excited because I get to go to Hawaii with my family in January. But it's also expensive, so I've been
Yeah. Right.
trying to save and work extra, pick up some overtime. So
Okay. Well, my week was pretty simple. Fallout 4, hunting bobbleheads, trying to get to level 50, just working on trophies at this point. I could pretty much be done with the game if I wanted, but I kind of want to get that platinum trophy, so that's really all that's keeping me in there right now. With Christmas coming, I'm feeling the pressure because, Santa usually drops a bunch of stuff in the house, and I'm going to get pulled away from it at that point probably, so I'd like to try to get it done by then, but we'll see what happens. Also, getting back into Persona 4 on the Vita, and man, that game is really cool, really different. The characters are awesome. The combat is kind of weak, and thinking about Final Fantasy 13, I'm like, man, if that game had Final Fantasy 13's combat system, I'd be in heaven. But that game's really cool. I still don't have a full grasp of how everything works, though. So I'll save my full review on that game until I really grasp every part of the system. But I would adopt Nanako. That little girl is so cute. Yeah. Okay. So that's our weeks. You know what, Chris?
Yo.
Remind me, there's one news story I want to get to, but let's not beat around the bush. We all know why we're here, so let's just get
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
let's get to that. Oh well,
Okay.
we got give it a couple minutes. We can do a couple minutes of this news story because I feel like I know which one it is.
Yeah, you know which one it is. All right. We'll knock it out real quick then. All right. So Hideo Kojima basically looks like he's forming his own studio, and it looks like he's got to deal with Sony to develop a game for them on PlayStation first. Looks like it'll probably come to PC after, and it sounded like Xbox One too.
Nope.
You sure?
I heard only PlayStation and PC.
Interesting. I thought from what I read, it was pretty vague about like,
Well, yeah, things could
exclusive
change.
to PlayStation. Well, we'll see. More solid details will come out about that later. But either way, so Kojima and Sony kind of seemed like the way it would go. Always wondered if Microsoft might just back up the money truck and try to pull him in, but I mean, he's Japanese, Sony's in Japan. They're, close ties, and let's face it, he likes to work on high-end hardware, and you can say anything you want about NX, but, it's not here, so,
Yep.
it kind of seemed like maybe the best place for him to fall in with that. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome. And the only reason why I'm saying that now is because it's actually coming out on PC. So,
Yeah,
so I won't play with it.
self-interest.
Yeah, but by that time I'll probably have a PS4, so not much of a thing. But that's awesome. I'm glad he's with the company that's going to give him the freedom that he did, and also have the same people that has worked on previous games with him. Also, the possibility of a Guillermo del Toro Kojima game, which is something I'm kind of excited about if they actually do that. We shall see. That's the future.
All right. Andrew, does that mean anything to you?
I don't actually know. Remind me what games he.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some other projects like Zone of the Enders and Boktai and all those things. But I mean, Metal Gear is what he's known for. But he won't be making Metal Gear since Konami owns that, well, and all the games he made. So, he'll be going in new directions now. We'll be playing like Gear Metal.
The hills that are silent.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a different game.
The main character is Snake Solid. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The best part of this story to me was really that finally something, like, there's something concrete. Like, none of this, oh, he's leaving Konami, oh, he's on vacation. Like,
it's not only concrete, just like from an article, it's actually him saying
yeah. And we know he's alive, yeah. He's not, like, tied down in Konami's basement somewhere, Yeah.
Only playing pachinko machines. That's his torture.
Oh man. Yeah. So anyway, the only thing I can hope now is that we just get further and further away from this bizarro Konami Kojima breakup, because I'm just so sick of it. It's the weirdest thing.
Yep.
It's so.
And we still don't know what happened, but at least we got something to look for in the future.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that book to come out in the future because, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was really the only news story I wanted to get to. So we can move right into the Star Wars discussion. So we're here tonight. We're talking Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, the best movie in the series.
No, that would be a terrible idea for a show.
That Jango Fett head roll, man.
Oh yeah, well when your dad gets his head lopped off, the first thing you do as a child is walk over and pick the head up.
Pick it up.
This is common sense. So, no, we're talking Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Me and Chris saw it today. Andrew, tell me you saw the movie.
Yeah, we went to see it and annoyed a couple of our other friends that we were going to go see a week later, but basically what happened is my roommate got tickets on his own because he didn't want to wait, and he came home from the movie, had this big grin on his face, and Greg and I were just like, okay, this isn't happening. There's no way we're going to survive a week without seeing it.
What's wrong with seeing it more than once, right?
Right. So then we went to the more ghetto theater, I guess you could say, because we figured we'd be able to get seats, and we got reasonable seats. We got there like 40 minutes early at like 3 o'clock. So.
Wait, did you go to Regal?
Yeah. We went to Winsong.
Winsong's not that ghetto.
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But it feels more, I don't know, it felt more run down compared to Showplace, which is this like new recliner leather lazy boy seating where you can like reserve your seats in advance and like.
Okay.
The problem with Showplace is that, like, and the fact that everyone reserves their seats in advance is that you literally have to book your movie like 3 weeks in advance to get reasonable seats because the theaters are smaller because the seats are bigger. So like, there's no capacity in any of the theaters, and it can get kind of annoying. But that's a side topic. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to get too derailed here, right? Yeah. Okay. So me and Chris, we went this morning. My son went with us. Yeah. Well, we had a 10:30 showing, and we got there about 9:45. Chris.
Yeah, I would say it was probably about that.
Yeah, we were very concerned it would be super packed, and we wanted to be there early to try to get better seats. And really wasn't that bad, to be honest.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was really... actually, the theater wasn't even as packed as I thought it would be.
Yeah, Winsong wasn't packed. We went at 3:20, which is before people get off work, most people. So, like, it wasn't very packed there either. I mean, it was probably 60% full, 70%, but, like, a lot of people coming in right at the last minute, so we got there a half hour early, and we got, like, the best seats in the theater, so.
Yeah, we had some pretty good seats.
Yeah, no, we were, we were, like, dead center, right in front of that rail.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was good. We were able to put our feet up on the rail, and
that was probably the best part. was being able to relax your legs throughout the whole movie. Man, that was nice.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Okay, so enough about seats in theaters. Let's talk about the movie. Initial impressions of the movie.
I thought it was great. I thought they did very well. You could tell they kept it. They didn't do anything too crazy to like push fans away to keep them for the rest of the movies, which was nice. But yeah, when it's like a different team making it, that was really impressive.
Yeah,
Like even the transitions between scenes was like exactly like the other movies. It was great.
yeah. You mentioned something good about trying not to push people away. It felt very much like they were putting like the putting out the fire from the prequels and basically saying, look, we made a movie. It's very like the Star Wars movies you remember. Please don't run away and hate it. Like, I mean,
I remember thinking that like various points throughout the movie that they were just basically like trying to make everyone forget the BS and the disaster that was the previous three movies, and let's get back to what made Star Wars, and even to the point where they were like, there were very similar plot elements, but I don't necessarily think that like that detracted from what most people were looking for, really. So
no, I'm sure that's what a lot of people wanted. It just had you could tell it was a very safe play.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably good for the first episode in the trilogy, right? Like you come out, you tell everybody like, look, we know what you want. We can do what you want. Now trust us to take care of the franchise from here.
Yep.
And now you could take more chances, especially with these side movies. You can take a lot of chances. Now with episode 8, you can be a little more daring and try some different things.
Yeah, I'm interested in what's going to happen in the second movie.
Well, it'll be a different director too, so who knows?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What? I did not know that.
I don't know if they just wanted to transition it, or if J.J. Abrams just didn't want to do the whole thing, or I don't know. But
probably tough to tie somebody down with the whole trilogy, right? Like you're basically telling them like the next 6 years of your life are going to be nothing but Star Wars, so have fun.
Yes, I saw some of the they had a behind the scenes footage that came out, and the people that were talking about it, the staff, they're all like, this is probably one of the harder movies they made because they made everything from scratch. Like you see the Millennium Falcon, that's an actual Millennium Falcon. It's not some 3D animated. It's literally they're sitting in an actual ship, so everything was real. Granted, I mean it's not flying or anything, but like that's pretty cool in my opinion. But I could see that being a lot of work and a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you go. Episode 8 is scheduled for release May 26th, 2017.
That's nice.
And directed by Rian Johnson.
Who the hell is that?
I think he did Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay. Did he do an episode of Breaking Bad, or did he direct the whole thing?
I don't know the details, but I think it's interesting that they're changing up. And I mean, like if he did Breaking Bad, like he could have a completely different take on like, there's a foundation now for like what you can do with the next 2 episodes, and he might do some changes that no one's expecting. So we'll see.
He's a crazy looking dude too. Is that the same dude?
Yeah. Interesting.
But I think I think he's still working with like as far as like writing the script. I think he's still working with like J.J. Abrams with like the transition and stuff. So
that'd be nice.
I'm sure it's a big collective effort. I don't think it's just like being left in the hands of one person.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what took the series in some strange directions previously. So. But we'll see. It might be interesting to keep switching directors. It keeps it fresh. Somebody's coming in 100% full bore. Like, because if you're the director and you come in and screw up a Star Wars movie, that stain is on your resume for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So back to episode 7. Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, what were your initial impressions of the movie itself?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Um, I thought, I don't know, I was really drawn in right away from how it started and how it was this kind of like chase and all these different scenes. It seemed to go really smoothly, keep you interested, keep drawing you in, and then they got to more of the like nostalgic points and like, there was even a moment where they're like,
I will say it was good that they didn't shove the classic characters down your throat from the beginning.
right,
Yeah.
That was pretty good decision there.
yeah, and then like I feel like there were some parts toward the end that like they were doing a lot of the like similar plot elements to the first movie, and that was like, oh, are they going to go try to blow up the super weapon that is eating suns and destroying planets, and and you got this. There was another moment I felt like where Kylo Ren took off his mask, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, what is this what's gonna happen? Who's it gonna be?" And then you realize it's just the
Adam Driver.
yeah.
But that was cool that they unmasked him right away. I thought like it wasn't like the great big mystery, or it wasn't like with Vader the whole thing was kind of like he's deformed and messed up and he's hiding who he is,
Yeah.
Whereas with Kylo Ren, it's like, oh no, this is just like something like cool accessory I wear. It's got good damage resistance.
Yeah. Well, and from the get-go, like,
and he has the strongest neck in the universe because every time that thing gets put down, it sounds like a freaking building fell.
Yep. And if you think about it, they unmasked him right away because everyone in the movie knows who he is after like 35 minutes into the movie. They tell you right away he's not right away. I think it's like a half hour in they tell you he's Han Solo's son. So Han Solo.
Yeah.
So
okay, so let me put a question to you fellas. Knowing who the character is and seeing him, do you like that approach more than the Darth Vader approach, or do you prefer the mystery, don't quite understand the background of this character approach they used with Vader?
Well, I think they gave some of that and maybe flipped it a bit because now you are thinking about Rey and you actually don't know who Rey is. I mean, you have an idea who she might be, but or how she fits in. Everyone's speculating, but you don't actually know more than like that brief flashback. And that kind of has the suspense now, and it's like, so who's the protagonist actually in this movie? Whereas now with the villain, how he fits in, but you don't know how the protagonist is connected.
Very true.
Necessarily. So.
Yeah, there were a lot of mysteries about that character. They hinted a lot of things, but they never outright tell you anything about her.
Nope. Mm-hmm. The only time you got even a glimpse was when she touched Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And you saw everything.
But they still didn't tell you anything.
Nope, they just show her a ship leaving, her crying as a kid, being held by that one dude, the junkyard guy. Kind of a dickwad. And that was it. So, I kind of like this mystery. I think taking the mystery off of Kylo Ren is really nice, and then showing him do an evil act right away. Like he just straight up murders his dad.
Yeah.
Like
I remember that moment freezes, like where Han Solo is grabbing his lightsaber, and it's just like.
That tense moment?
There's that tense moment for like 4 or 5 seconds, and you're like, well, how is this actually going to end here?
Yeah, but they foreshadow it so much because the light disappears.
As soon as that light's
all dark, and you just kind of knew then.
Yeah.
It's no music playing. It's super quiet.
Changes and then gets quiet. Yeah.
Yep.
And then they take him out, and you're like, oh yeah, Harrison Ford really didn't want to do this anyway. Of course they killed him. So, yeah.
But I thought he did a good job. He still added the Harrison Ford element, the Han Solo element to the movie, and I thought that was
definitely
good.
So is Chewie going to be throughout the movie?
far as I know,
looking
she's
like
with Ray, or he's with Ray.
That's
so.
awesome.
And Ray seems to be the new like talented pilot person as well. So
A talented pilot who's a Jedi? Where have I heard that before?
yeah.
So let me think. Moments in the movie. There was one moment, and me and Chris kind of touched on this argument a bit earlier on the way back from the movie. I'll just kind of get your take on it, Andrew. So in the final showdown between Kylo Ren and Rey, there's this moment where he's got her in a compromised position, and he basically says, "Hey, let me teach you how to use the Force." And all of a sudden, it's like the light bulb goes off in her head. She's like, "Oh, the Force." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the hell did you think was happening when all these weird things were going on? Or did you just think you were special? Like, I don't know. I thought it was really bizarre. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
I took it as it wasn't that she was remembering that she can use the Force. It was more she was remembering that she can use the Force if she focuses and calms down. Like she was just fighting on just straight emotion, and then when he mentioned it, she realized if she controls her emotions, she's all right. That's the way I took it.
Yeah, I thought it was a sort of like a moment where instead of being the like emotionally maybe unstable or like the maybe weak female character or someone that's just kind of like forced into the position, she realized then that she can use the Force and the light side of the Force is all about like focus and
she just witnessed the near death of her future boyfriend, and she's going off rage.
Yeah.
So she calmed down, focused, and that's how that worked. It's really weird though, because I don't think she had any experience of the Force before that really good scene where Ren's trying to read her thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really a cool scene. It drawn out a little too long. I think we talked about that, Chris. But
yeah,
when she flips the script on him, that's just so awesome.
Yeah. Where she's like, I sense fear that you'll never be like Vader or something.
Yeah.
So she basically reads his mind instead.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend, and he said he felt, because in that scene, that's when he reveals his face. He said that he thinks that the point of revealing his face was to show that he's not this like complete evil villain yet. He's still this like young kid who's learning how to control the dark side. And I think he said that's why they did it the way it was. He wasn't this like completely destroyed guy.
Well, from what Smeagol was saying, he's not even done his training yet, so.
Smeagol. He looks like a deformed version of the aliens from Prometheus.
Yeah, Greg and I were arguing over who the hell that guy actually is. He must be the other Sith, but Smoke or Smakes or
Snooky? Yeah, I don't know. They nailed most of the names, but man, that Snoke, was that it?
Nope.
I think you're right.
Oh man, that one was really bad.
But I mean, he's obviously part of the next couple movies. So.
Yeah, he's the as they always say, they come in two. So he's obviously the Sidious of everything.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Speaking of people who are going to be part of the next couple movies, let's talk a little bit about Finn. This character was interesting, in my opinion.
He seemed like a very weak character, in a sense that he always got his ass beat. But then when he said he was part of sanitation, I was like, all right, that explains a lot. That I get it now. That's why he seemed, because I remember the stormtrooper with the vibroblade, which was awesome, by the way. Whooped his ass, and then he tried to fight again, and he got his ass whooped. And then when he was shooting, he was like shooting in this like weird angle, and he didn't really have like control over anything. So I felt like he was a weaker character, but maybe he'll get stronger teaming up with the pilot.
Yeah, but I think it's his intentions. end up in the right place.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously shaken. He can't carry out the slaughter at the beginning, and then he ends up helping,
Making things up as he goes.
Yeah, making things up. And then, of course, there's that moment where he's trying to run away again, and then all of a sudden the Empire is at the doorstep of whatever it was, the trading post or mercenary trading.
He's the Han Solo of the new franchise.
Yeah.
Minus the fact that he's not really that good at anything.
And he picks up a lightsaber and tries to use it and gets whooped.
Yeah, I think he had some conflict within him too. Like he didn't know what he was fighting for at first. Like he was just on the run. I think you saw his character develop a lot more once he knew what he was fighting for.
Yeah.
And once he came to terms with what he was, because I thought it was cool that he decided to stop hiding that.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Han kind of gave him the word. Like this is what's gonna go down. Like she's gonna find out, and he didn't sit on that too long.
That was so funny when Han Solo, those lines, he's like, first he told him he was a big deal, and then Han kept calling him Big Deal.
Yeah.
Until he finally, revealed who he was and what his backstory actually was.
I like him. I'm interested to see what he can actually do.
How did you feel about the way they left that character? I mean...
Injured?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's in like a coma or something. I don't know, because he's
all they
certainly
said
not awake.
All they said was he's breathing. They didn't say if he was awake or anything. They just said he's okay, he's breathing.
We only see one scene after that, and he's asleep, but you don't know if it's been like 6 hours or like 3 weeks. Like, there's no frame of time reference, so you don't quite know what's going on with this character.
He had a lightsaber go down the side of, or down the middle of his back.
Well,
he's probably going to be out for a while.
The thing is, though, because of the way the angle of the shot is, you don't know if it penetrated in or if it was just surface wound.
Good point.
The fact that he's unconscious would probably indicate that there was some damage, but I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like the fact that they were just like, she comes up, she asks about Finn, and they say, oh yeah, he's good, he's breathing. And then that was it. She's like, okay, cool, and then leaves.
Yeah, I don't get that. Why did she leave? Oh, well, no, that's right. She left to go find Luke. That's right.
Climb up the 1,000 steps to High Rothgar.
Yeah.
Go see the graybeard Luke.
Yeah, you and my son both said the same thing about that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And the look of maybe not revulsion, but like Luke obviously not really wanting to deal with anything Jedi anymore, and obviously she still found him. So
part of me wondered if that long kind of bizarre look had to do with the fact that that's his daughter.
That's
what everyone's gonna say, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that would mean he'd had to have been with somebody, and I'm not an EU guy, and they kind of blew that up a bit too, so I don't know if something like that ever happened or what.
But I mean, it could be his daughter, or it could be that she was there being trained beforehand, maybe lost her memory at something when Ren went nuts and left everybody. Because what did he do? He he turned all the apprentices, right? Is that what we discussed?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe
it seems like he turned all the apprentices that Luke was training to be the new Jedi. So
yeah.
Yeah, and that's how they became the Knights of Ren or whatever.
So maybe she was there, and that's why she got shipped off somewhere else, and maybe she just was an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe he recognizes her, but she still has no memory of that.
Well, and she kept wanting to go back to Jakku because she kept holding out hope that whoever left her there was going to meet her there again or come back to her there. So
I'm gonna go and say that that's not his daughter, but that was one of the people he was training. That was one of the apprentices.
I thought it was more likely that she was Ren's sister.
That was kind of what I had thought. I was like, did they send her, did Han and Leia send her away to keep her safe from him? or
Like, because maybe
something
she
else.
was just a child or really young when he turned on everyone. So, yeah, I don't know. That's obviously that's the plot element now that everyone is more veiled and more mysterious, whereas before it was like, who is Vader? You know,
It feels like an episode 2 reveal though. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna do her training on Dagobah basically. You know? And I did turn to Chris at one point towards the end of the movie when she left and was going to find Luke, and I was like, if he's on Dagobah, I'm gonna lose my shit. 'Cause I'm like, why would that not be the first place you look? Like, you know. So when they went to that other planet, I was like, okay, we're good still.
Well, didn't they mention something about Luke being on the in the system where like the original Jedi temple was, or Jedi ruins or something? I don't know.
That
Well,
was his
that would-
last place, and then he went somewhere else.
Okay, yeah.
Well, he was going to look for the first Jedi temple, which I think that's on Tython. So I don't know if that's where they're at. They don't really say. There sure is a lot of water there.
Lots of water.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I guess more things to learn in episode 8.
Yeah, but I thought that was was really good to, you know, like there's a lot of intrigue there. And obviously
I was just thinking, how much money does Mark Hamill get for that? Like, he has like 15 seconds of screen time. Like, what are his royalties going to look like just for that?
I guarantee you that wasn't him in the flashback where he touches R2.
By the way, best scene of the whole movie, far and away.
When he touches R2?
That whole scene in the rain, the whole flashback, I'm like, I cannot wait for the next episode because I'm hoping they go fully into that scene because I want to know everything that happened there.
Oh, you mean the flashback where when she touches the lightsaber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that whole thing, and you got Kylo and all the Knights of Ren standing there, and it looks like, you know, they kind of whooped Luke's ass, and it's making me wonder how he's still around then.
If the second movie was just like like half the movie was just like a flashback of what actually happened, I would enjoy that a lot.
Well, there's a lot to cover now, right? Because you got Luke's got to train Rey, right? We need the flashback. We need some information filled in. We've got Finn's recovery. We've got the first Order's got to recover, right? So they got to start like rebuilding their stuff now that their planet weapon got destroyed. Like that's gonna put them in the red, you know.
Their sun-eating planet weapon.
Nah.
The weapon is the weapon in the on the planet, or is the planet inside the weapon? Like
me and Chris argued about this. Yeah, I said I think it's cooler if they build it into the planet. He thinks it is a weapon that they put like terraformed basically and put some like planetary existential stuff on it.
But somehow they still were able to swallow up and store energy from entire stars inside the planet.
But is it moving? Because they attacked the first time.
You know, there are systems in the Star Wars universe that have 2 suns, so they could have just.
This is true.
Sucked up both suns.
So they had a 2 time limit and they just wasted it all.
Well, they didn't waste the first one.
I'm telling you, my surface hydrogen theory probably holds more water. That
could be right.
They just pull the surface hydrogen off the sun, and then it starts burning hydrogen again. They don't suck the whole sun up. They just take all that energy on the surface of the sun, soak it up, and spit it out. You know.
And annihilate the entire Republic system. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was like, well, how do you one up the Death Star?
Make it bigger and a planet.
Yeah, you make it a planet, you make it able to kill multiple planets at the same time from anywhere in the galaxy. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what do you do in Episode 8 now? Like,
yeah, how do you top that?
Like you can't keep topping yourself. It's gonna, you know.
Yeah.
It's gonna get to the point where it's like Snooki can kill you with a thought. I've really got to stop calling that thing Snooki. I don't know.
I thought it was interesting how they had the same, like, general. You know how like every Star Wars movie, the like commander, like the general, is just like a complete douchebag. Or
Seems
like,
to be a requirement, whether
Yep.
it's the Empire or the First Order.
yeah,
He's a normal dude, and he's got to compete with a Sith. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, right? Because like this guy's probably an accomplished military general, right? Like he's worked his way all the way up the chain, and now some brat who's born with a special ability is his equal.
Yep.
And he's probably like, man, I worked for years to get here. This dude knows how to swing around a light beam, and he gets the same rank as me. What the hell?
yeah.
I like the actor that played the general, though. I can't. He's in this movie Ex Machina, which is really good. But he's a pretty good actor.
Yeah, he was pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm glad he. I hope continues throughout the rest of the movies. Also, Brienne of Tarth needs to take off her helmet. Need to see a nice battle between her and Finn.
Oh, the Finn's commander or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
Captain Phasma.
That's the name.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you never did see the resolution of her plot, so.
Yeah, they mentioned
all
throwing her
happened
in a
off
trash
screen.
compactor, but I'm like, is she really dead? Nah. It's a Star Wars. Nobody really dies unless they're good.
Yeah, you know, if you're Darth Maul or Qui-Gon, you die in the first movie and ruin the rest of the prequels. Thanks.
So
what'd you
glad-
guys think of that scene where Han Solo is between the two smuggler
Oh, that was a good scene.
with
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
yeah, that was pretty fun.
Those what were they, like Rakthars or whatever they were calling them? Those things, they were straight out of an anime, man. They
Yeah.
were creepy.
A little bit of tentacles everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny though. I love the idea that they eat everybody else they grab immediately, but when they get Finn, they decide to take him for a walk first.
Gotta take him to the
really?
corner.
Like, you could have done the whole door trick immediately. There was no need to, like,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it not make sense,
Yep.
you know? So, and I also thought it was odd that those things are supposed to be, like, killing machines capable of massacre, but all the important, like, named dudes from that raid all survived it somehow.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. Getting distracted with things that really aren't important to the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? The prequels, I know a lot of Star Wars fans hate them because they're not exact replicas of the original trilogy. But the one thing that always stuck out was that the dialogue in the prequels was terrible.
Yep.
So, thoughts on the dialogue in Episode 7?
They accomplished a lot without having to do long dialogue issues. Like if you notice in like the prequels, there's always scenes between like a general or like Count Dooku or the Jedi Council or the Big Senate, and it was just so long and drawn out, and you're just like, oh, get to what we actually want to see right now. This is too much, and I felt they hit every part that we needed without having the dialogue go too much. I thought it was done well. I'm not expecting anything like deep. Like they added the mystery, they hit the parts that they need to hit, they kept the movie going. It added what am I looking for? It added depth to the characters. It was perfect. It wasn't too much and it wasn't too little.
I think they did a lot more of the kind of humorous and lighthearted dialogue, and they intersperse that with like, at this point you get the flashback, or at this point, you have the whatever, that 700-year-old traitor lady that Han Solo took them to see, and she was like,
she was all right too. Let me
Yeah,
say
I
that
liked
while we're
her,
talking
yeah.
about her. She was a decent enough character.
yeah, I thought she was pretty cool. So
Nothing overly dramatic, nothing super crazy. She didn't have like 8,000 legs or a goofy, crazy accent. Like just a character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those eyes though, man.
A bit eccentric, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you expect some of that in the Star Wars movies.
It wasn't another Watto. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
There was no useless characters
Yeah.
like that had dialogue. I think that helped a lot. Like it was perfect. I thought.
Useless characters that had dialogue.
Mhm.
Talking about Jar Jar.
I
Right?
Wait, are you saying Jar Jar's not as good as Chewie as the animal friend? Like, not equals?
It was
Oh.
great.
This is news to me. No. I thought the dialogue was a lot better. You know, I mean, the prequels kind of set the bar really low, so you didn't have to do much. But I don't know, there were no like cheesy lines of dialogue, at least that I can remember off the top of my head. A second viewing in a movie will help a lot with that.
Yeah.
There was definitely cheesy lines, but they weren't like out of place cheesy lines, and there wasn't like a long scene to lead up to a cheesy line. They were just like Han would say something, or like in the beginning you had BB-8 and
Yeah.
Rey. Like she's the only one having the real conversation, but you could tell there's like cheesiness in there, but it wasn't terrible. It like fit. It was nice.
Yeah. Well, here's like the best example I could give you, right? Any scene, including Anakin and Padme from episode 2 or 3, was immediately filled with tons of cringeworthy, unnatural dialogue.
Yep.
And I don't mean like unnatural Hollywood. I mean unnatural like Hollywood, humans, anything. Like, you know, just way over the top, way too much said. Nobody would ever say that.
I don't like sand.
Not even, well, the sand is one thing. I'm talking more about like the romance stuff between the two of them, like the cheesy things they would say to each other, like that no person would ever believe. And then you got like this romance between like Finn and Rey, and it's so much better because neither of them knows how to express what they feel, like so they don't actually say anything, and it's so much more believable because they're both so young. Like it actually fits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both from completely different young perspectives on the new world that they've been thrust into. So they're not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like there's a lot of inexperience and uncertainty in what they're doing. Whereas like with Anakin and Padme, it was like, I love you, let me count the ways. And it's like, nobody does that, you know? Like, so it's just good to have the dialogue centered back in reality a little bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and there were like some weird things, like when Finn would get like all uppity with somebody and start like kind of being a bit of a jackass, and it was like, dude, calm down, you know.
He was acting on fear though. Like a lot of times when he would get that way, he was acting on a emotion.
It's not the acting that bothered me. It was that you could tell the dialogue was kind of put in there like, oh, funny line, and somebody like wrote something in there, you know.
Yeah.
Like in, you know, when they did sorry to talk about this on a Star Wars episode, but like Star Trek, they used to say they would write like the scripts and it would be like, you know, da 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 da, and then parentheses technical term, you know, and then continue with the conversation, and some other guy would come back and write all the technical jargon that they would say. And it felt like that with some of the things with Finn, like when he would get all crazy. Like somebody was writing and they were like, parentheses, Finn says something funny, you know, and then continued with his dialogue, and then somebody else came in and inserted what he would say there, you know.
Oh man.
Or like BB-8 flipping the lighter.
I like that.
Yeah. So, you know, those things were a little immersion breaking. I was like, whoa. Like, I remembered that I was watching a Star Wars movie when those things happened. You know. Not the worst thing in the world. They were good laughs,
Flipping the lighter was
I ain't saying,
break?
yeah, because I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, I thought it was great.
I didn't say it wasn't funny. I just said it pulled me out of the movie.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
You know.
Well, that's how I've always viewed Star Wars. I've always viewed Star Wars as full of like cheesy jokes.
Well, I think
a lot of the characters.
Yeah, and I think that was.
It keeps it lighthearted when there's so much darkness that happens.
Especially in like the first and second of the original movies. You know, I think that was what like made those movies so good.
Yeah.
I don't know, or is part of it, anyways. So.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thought looking forward now, right? Episode 8 now has the unenviable task of being the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and typically the second part of a trilogy is the worst. Empire happens to be the outlier. You know,
Probably happens to be the best, probably of this whole trilogy. Or, I mean, the whole series. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's just that usually the middle part of a trilogy is stuck in this bad position where it can't really resolve anything because it has to leave everything open for the third leg of the trilogy.
Yeah, it's like a filler episode in an anime where they just kind of do stuff that has nothing to actually do with the rest.
It's usually like a bunch of stuff happens, but nothing changes. You know, like
one that I can think of, not Star Wars related, that did that was the second Matrix movie. Like they just kind of did a lot of fighting scenes and a lot of things led up to what would be the third movie, but there was really nothing actually happening.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of sad that this movie is part of a trilogy. Because I'm like, this was such a great self-contained film that it would have been great for it to just be over. Like, the fact that now they have to draw it out for 2 more films is like, I don't know. They might be able to pull it off, but I'm just like, I'm so satisfied with all the conflict and conflict resolution of this movie that it's just a shame that now it has to be pulled along for 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
But you have stories now, so you have
there are threads.
You have like Rey, which is the main one, Rey and Ren, right? And then you have like a side plot with Finn, who's probably going to learn some stuff from the pilot. I can't remember the pilot's name.
Poe.
Poe, yeah. So you're gonna have some stuff with him, I assume, and then you're gonna get I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that's going to actually happen. I think they have a lot of subplots that they can work on that are actually interesting.
And what's Leia's role going forward as well?
True.
Yeah, her kid just killed her husband, so.
And did you guys? I mean, there was that moment where like they clearly showed that Leia had like sensed through the Force that Han Solo had just been killed. I thought that was interesting because they never like explicitly say that she's like one with the Force, but. You know, obviously she's part of that. Yeah, she's part of that.
She's 1/4 Force sensitive on her father's side.
Yeah. And then there's that, and then there's obviously Luke Skywalker and Rey, which I think is the main. Luke Skywalker and Rey, and then Ren and Snoke. What kind of name is Snoke?
Oh God, that is, man. I don't know. You want to talk about big bombs? That's probably like, what the hell were they thinking? I don't know.
But it's pretty good if.
Watch, we're all gonna make fun of this, and we're gonna find out like it's named after some like Children's Miracle Network kid, and we're all a bunch of like evil humans.
But the movie was good when, like, the thing you're complaining about was the name of the...
This is true. That's nitpicking at that point.
Yeah.
Well, it was like when me and Chris got in an argument about the planet and how it worked. And I was like, why are we arguing about this? Like, this isn't what's important. It's just, but it was just like a question we had. But I was like, this has nothing to do with whether or not it's a good movie, how the planet worked.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't matter. It's minutia.
Yeah.
What is this? So, like, and I think there's going to be more talking about what, obviously I don't think the First Order is done being a part of the movie chain, it's going to rebuild at some point, so.
I do like their name, though. The First Order and the Knights of Ren. I do like they took it a different direction than... like, oh, we're the Empire again.
Yeah.
And we're part of,
Yeah, I'd like to know why they're the First Order.
Yeah.
Like,
first off,
it doesn't seem like they're first of anything. Like, it seems like they're second. I don't know.
That scene where he was right before they destroyed the Republic system, like that was a pretty frightening scene. Just seeing all of them lined up and cheering, and then that fist chant.
Yeah, that's that Nazi Germany feel.
Yeah, right, man. I was like, damn, this is crazy. I like that though. Add a different perspective on it.
How many of the like commanders and troops and stuff got off that planet though before the planet went?
Very good point.
Well, the bigger question is exactly how much of the First Order was on that planet.
Yeah.
Like, was that just the detachment? Like, okay, count your losses, try again. Like, clearly that planet was a weapon. Like, but
And
they
they
also,
do have a
you
bunch
know,
of Star
Golem is
Destroyers.
on another planet, obviously, because he wants Kylo Ren to come to him. Is that really where the First Order is based out of? You know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
What
they
if
on
we,
Korriban, you know,
what if we
Dromund
find out
Kaas. Like,
that?
there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah. And who is Snoke? That's the other question. So now the mystery, at least on the dark side, is not who maybe the main villain is, but it's what's the backstory behind the Snoke guy, I guess, because no one really knows where
Yeah, I
he.
don't know. He just pales in comparison to the Emperor. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Emperor's way cooler, just guy in a hooded robe, and I like that. This thing is like weird. I'm like, I don't know what he is. Is he really that big? Is he just projected that big? Like, what's going
Like
on
the
here?
first scene, you're like, what's going on here? Like this
Dude.
guy's like 5 times the size of the other
If
two.
they didn't do a hologram, I think that would have been like my key point of what the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? But I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Who the hell is the old guy in the beginning of the movie?
I feel like an idiot because I don't know who that is. I'm not like the biggest EU guy or like Wikipedia savant, so I don't know. I was trying to think who Luke would trust that much
Yeah,
that with.
because he looks like
And he knows
Obi-Wan.
Kylo Ren from the time he's young. So I'm like, should I know who this guy is? Because I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't know.
Hmm.
Do you know, Andrew?
No, I don't. I'm even trying to remember that scene. It was like the first scene, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, so we're 0 for 3 over here then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, boy, he looks a lot like Ben Kenobi. I'm like,
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, was the one from A New Hope just a body double? Is this the real Ben Kenobi? Like, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's one of the Google.
Yeah.
You say who is the old guy, and it autofills at the beginning of The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
So
right.
when he wanted to like,
Yeah, that's gonna be popular.
And
Yeah.
there's no answer.
there's no answer.
Okay, so it's meant to be unknown for the time being.
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll find out who he is in the second episode when Luke starts disseminating information then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm not crazy, right? Kylo Ren's real name is Ben.
Yeah. No, they said that.
Yeah, because that's what. Oh, did they? I know Han yells it,
Yep.
right? When he's on the walkway.
Yeah, that's when they reveal his name.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought, the way you said that, I thought maybe I missed it at another point.
No.
So. Okay.
Here's an interesting thing. Andy Serkis is Snoke. You know who Andy Serkis is?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the guy who played Gollum.
Yep.
Eagle.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does all the 3D, a lot of different 3D characters. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yep.
Man, I wasn't wrong when I said Gollum, huh?
No, you're dead on.
That was weird. Yeah. Yeah, I hope Kylo Ren kills him in the next one, because I don't like that dude. He's not interesting. He's
He's
just...
interesting because he only had a little bit of it. He's interesting in the idea that he is the Sith Lord.
something. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. The other thing that, like, you have the First Order and the Resistance, but like then they kill the Republic, which isn't necessarily like how is the Republic? Is it in between the First Order and the Resistance, or is it like just like those two things are spin-offs from the Republic? And
Well, it would sound like the Resistance works outside the Republic so that they can do what they have to do without the Republic taking the flack for it.
yeah,
But I don't think they crushed the Republic. If the Republic was only 5 planets, then it wasn't that strong to begin with, now was it? I'm assuming they just took out a crucial system to the Republic.
yeah, presumably the Senate and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. They really didn't give us too many details on that, so, You know how people complain if there's anything to deal with senates or trade federations, they start, I'm not here for politics, I'm here for lightsabers. So.
Oh, well, I got some information, guys,
Oh.
on the Wikipedia.
On the Wikipedia?
Yeah, I know. What's this Wookiee thing? Come on,
My
Chris, get it
bad.
together.
My
No, we've been up long.
Uh,
It's been a long day for us.
but what's his name? The old guy in the beginning is Lor San Tekka, who is a follower of the Church of the Force. But yeah, so he doesn't. So
I'm not
that's about it.
supposed to know him?
Yeah.
I guess not. Yeah.
One of the things that irked me is why and how R2-D2 ended up with everything, the entire map to Luke except for just the one piece, and then he was just sitting on it.
Because I don't think Luke
Or
wanted
like-
to be found.
Yeah, so you think R2 just went into hibernation because he knew that Luke didn't want to be found, and then he realized that they needed to find him, and he just woke up.
I don't
get
think he
after.
wanted to actually to be the hero. Like, I don't think he wanted to be taken into anything. And so he wanted somebody else to be found? I don't know.
Yeah, because my thought was like, oh, well, there's a Jedi, like the Force is awakened now, so like now it's time to go find Luke.
Yep.
But I'm like, well, R2-D2 can't sense the Force, can he? Like he's a droid, so like
Jedi's
how would he
can-
know to wake up? She wasn't like using a lightsaber in front of him or using Force powers near him, like.
Well, and the
So-
other thing is, like, she does so much that is, like, clearly Jedi, except then there's that moment where she's, like you were saying, where the Force awakens, or, like, she thinks about the Force and refocuses. And then is that supposed to be the, like, moment where the Force awakens? Because, like, she just lightsaber pulled the lightsaber moments before, and, like, moments before that did a Jedi mind trick, and, like, a few minutes before that resisted the mind read from Kylo. So, like, I don't know. It's like, at what point in the movie did the Force awaken, I guess?
I would say probably that battle.
That battle, yeah.
Yeah. Or when he was trying to mind read her, it kicked in.
Yeah.
And then she realized, but does she know anything about the Force before that?
Well, I think it seems like they all know the stories.
Like, it's
Yeah.
mythologized.
Remember, like Han tells them, like, yeah, those stories are all true,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
so it
true.
seems like there's like knowledge of like the myths of the first rebellion.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so let me, Andrew, here's one for you. So Kylo Ren, all right, they instill like that early weakness in him, that he's got this fear of not living up to the legacy of Vader, and he has all this like uncertainty and questions, himself, and he's not this like, committed, vile, ruthless thing, like he's not Darth Maul. He's not just there to do what he's there to do,
Yeah. Like, they definitely put that in your mind.
Yeah.
And even up to the point where he kills Han Solo, and maybe even after still, like, there seems to be some doubt still, or some question, so.
Yeah. I guess my question to you is, do you like that? Do you feel like it makes the villain more complex, or do you dislike it and feel that it makes, like, oh, well, he's weak. Like, how can they not beat this guy,
Well, I think it's part of Star Wars to know that, the Force is kind of like a spectrum. There's, like, even in the original trilogy, Darth Vader ended up saving Luke Skywalker and throwing the Emperor off the rail, in the last movie. So, like,
Yeah, but you don't really know anything. Like, with Vader, though, you didn't know any conflict within him. Like, he was just ruthless for the
That's
first
true.
two
Yeah,
movies. It was in the third movie you finally started to understand that there was more to him than that.
Was it the third movie where the dialogue started? Where who was it? Who was what's his name? Sidious. When he starts talking to him about can he handle it? Was that in the third movie? Was can he handle the battle with Luke? Can he handle Luke, knowing that it's his son? That dialogue is when you could tell there was still conflict and he was fighting against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the third one, because I seem to not really remember anything with Vader really in the second one until he is in the room in Cloud City. So
yeah,
if he's in it before that, I cannot remember the scene.
To answer the question, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's part of the character development that makes it different than the original, trilogy. I think that's one of the main differences potentially, is that this villain is unmasked and that he's not, necessarily as fine-tuned or steadfast as Vader was, and he's
I guess
more emotional. And
I was just curious, like, does that make you like him more or less, like that he has that turmoil, like, because I could see some people being turned off by that, but I could also see other people saying, well, look, he's like complex. He's not just a evil, dark side infused killing machine, but he's, a complex character.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed his character so far. So
yeah, the inner turmoil kind of helps build that character better. It's I guess more relatable. I kind of don't want him to have any redemption. I kind of want him to go full Darth Maul on us, but we shall see.
I think killing Han was pretty much the clue in that there's no redemption coming. It's over for that. He's committed to the dark side now.
Well, Vader killed Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still redeemed himself.
It's true.
Yep.
I don't know. This seems a little more drastic. He killed his dad.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, though. I guess it could still come around.
Especially if there's some plot twist where, like, Rey ends up being his sister or something. But I don't know. I don't think that, like, everyone thinks that Rey is either a Skywalker or, somehow related to the family, and I don't necessarily think that that's the case. Like,
I don't want to think that either. I'd rather have her be her own story and have
because what if they just like framed this whole movie as like similar to the first movie, and now they have some really crazy.
Well, they certainly made her look in the same kind of vein as like Padme.
Yeah.
Which kind of gives you that inkling that she might be, descended.
Yeah.
That might just be to throw you off the trail. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, why are there no blonde chicks in Star Wars? I always wondered.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Just a little side tangent there. Yeah. Anything else about the movie that stood out to you guys?
No. Oh. This is the one thing in the dialogue that bothered me, was how to destroy the planet ship large weapon.
Right, the Star Killer. Right.
The planet ship large weapon Sun Eater.
Yeah. The one thing that bothered me was how quickly they're like, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no problem. We just got to go into that little hole and blow up the thing. Yeah. Obviously.
That's how technology works in Star Wars, man. That's pretty much what Han said, right?
Like, oh yeah, that's easy. No, we'll just do it again, guys. No problem. No problem.
And then right after that, they were there so fast. Like, it was just boom. Now all of a sudden they're like invading and they're in the ship, and now everyone else is like. There's literally like 5 minutes.
Yep.
That seems a lot like like stuff that might have got cut between those two scenes.
Yeah.
In post, like they just. The time, I mean, think about it. It's well over 2 hours, so it's like some stuff had to get cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was probably some stuff in there that just, had to go. It'll be in the deleted scenes
Yeah.
on the DVD and then the Blu-ray and then the digital release and then the full collection and then the extended edition and this is
Director's
Star
cut.
Wars. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yep.
Or maybe Disney will just put it in the Disney Vault and you won't be able to buy it. It'll be out
Another
for a limited
25
release.
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting how there was no Disney stamp at the beginning of the movie or at the end of the movie or like.
It's because they kept Lucasfilms as the name of the company.
It was weird though. There was no 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, there was none of that either.
That threw me off at the beginning.
Ah.
Yeah, because I was like waiting for it, and nope.
Yeah, right into it.
Yeah, so that's fine though. It's not a big deal. It was just I immediately was like, hey, wait, whoa, what's going on here? You know.
Did they ever say why? All right, so here's something. In the original movies, right? Yoda was just off in a cave somewhere while the Empire was just destroying everything, right? And then in this movie, Luke's doing the exact same thing. Did they ever explain why Yoda did it? Why he decided to just go be a hermit off somewhere?
Because the Emperor threw some chairs at him, and you know.
Well, I mean, so they sort of alluded to it at the end of the episode 3, I guess, is that he had to go into exile because he had no
allies.
Yeah, he had no allies left at that point.
So is that why Luke went out?
I
Luke just
still don't understand though. Like, Vader's crippled. Why don't him and Obi-Wan just go attack the Emperor together?
Right?
Like, if it's a stalemate between Yoda and the Emperor, the two of them could go, kill him, and everything's taken care of. And then you kill Vader while he's crippled.
I'm starting to think the Jedi are just like the most moody, like they're just sulking on everything.
They're like the guys, like the generals who don't listen to the soldiers, and they're just like, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, come on, it's right there.
Dude, and that bugs me more. Like, that bugs me a lot. Like, come on, Luke.
I also don't get
all this shit happening, and you're just like, whatevs.
Another problem was, how did Mace Windu kick the Emperor's ass by himself, but Yoda couldn't? Like, what?
You realize who played Mace Windu? That's why. Purple lightsaber, man. Get with the program. Samuel L. Jackson.
What is it with the black guy has to have purple? Like,
Samuel Jackson said if he was going to be in the movie that he wanted to have a purple lightsaber.
Oh, did he say that? Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
I thought they stuck him with it. All right.
It was his choice. Yeah. They weren't being racist and comparing it to like grape soda or anything. It was just straight up. He wanted that color.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works, huh? I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But to answer like the question about Luke, my understanding or my interpretation of it is that he's just ashamed at
what happened
because he knows the story of his father, and so he's like, well, this is happening again, and he just he feels like the fate or whatever, and he just exiles himself.
Right?
Yeah, that's good. So you ran away, and now Vren is helping the First Order become more powerful. Good job, Luke.
Yeah.
Well done.
I told you, man. I never liked Luke in the original movies.
Yeah, but like he's got it's just like Luke in the original movies wasn't he had weakness and he had his character flaws in the original movies too. So,
this is true.
I don't know. That I wasn't as bothered by that, I guess, as I think some people might be, but
listen, I'm just finding things that I find wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it for story-wise, but I just want to know like what was going through his mind. Like, yeah, man, my nephew was his nephew. That'd be his nephew. That'd be his nephew. My nephew, man, he took all my kids, and now they're all evil. Just gonna go sit in this water world and just chill out for a bit.
Well, and like my thought of that last scene was that he's upset that, like, he's almost upset that he has to confront
Well,
Anything
he's right back where he started, right?
Yeah.
Because now he's got another Jedi to train, and he's probably terrified this is going to blow up in his face again.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was my thought of it, and that's why I don't necessarily think that scene says anything about whether he knows Rey as a character before that moment. You know, that remains to be seen, but you know, we'll see.
But as a Jedi, he would know she was coming beforehand, wouldn't he? Don't they?
Yeah, I suppose you could argue that.
Yeah.
Or he would know that the Force has awoken, unless he's completely like shut himself off from being a Jedi. You know.
That'd be interesting.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. So let me ask you this: anything else you want to bring up that's of import?
No.
Yeah, I know there's more to talk about, but between our company Christmas party today and the movie and this, my throat is dying on me. So, as much as I'm loving the discussion, I need to rescue my throat from this. So.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, so a bit shorter of a Gamescast. We didn't actually talk any games tonight, but, you know, Star Wars and games are, to borrow a line from Mega Ran, tied together like ventricles and arteries. So, you know, there is a lot of correlation there. And we can get more into Star Wars games another time. So, yeah, I liked it, though. The movie was good. I'll be curious to see where we're at in 6 months, you know, and see if people still like it or not. Because everybody walked out episode 1 and loved it. So.
Yeah. Episode 1 was good. I mean, Jar Jar was bad, but the movie wasn't terrible, minus the fact that they killed one of the coolest villains, but
Yeah.
It was good.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody who joined us live tonight. We had quite a lot of viewers in there. Yeah, good stuff. Hope everybody liked Star Wars The Force Awakens. We'll be back next Friday with a regular Gamescast. Just be doing that thing we do every Friday, Chris.
Yeah.
10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern. I was ready to say Central. Why would I say Central? I've never lived in the Central time zone.
I don't know, man. Maybe me mentioning Minnesota at every option.
Every option.
It has been a long, busy day for the two of us, Chris. So it'll be good to finally have some free time.
I'm going to sleep well.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, and thanks to everybody who came in and watched. Hope everybody liked the movie. As far as finding us, you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, podcast services. Just search for Collective Gamescast. You can check out our website, collectivegc.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at @thecollectivegc. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at @themalgadar, MALGADAR. You can find Chris on Twitter at ChrisBCGC. And until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.